Welcome to ESVN, the Emma Sports Vigeland and the Emma Sports Vigeland Network Show. My name is Emma Vigeland, and I let my words get ahead of I let my brain get ahead of my mouth. Yet another example. For more of this kind of content, subscribe youtube.com/ESVN show, put on push notifications so we go, when we go live. We go live at 4 p.m. Mondays. Thursdays during the NFL season, Mondays all the time. And we just give you some fun breakdowns of the week. Hello to my co-host and whoa. So, my co-host and Bradley Alsop.
What am I?
This happens sometimes when I host the Majority Report by myself. My brain has stopped working. We had a pre-recorded interview early in the morning. Then we had the full show.
It's been quite a day.
So it's been quite a day for me. And the only time I reflect on that is as I see myself stumbling over words, or hear myself rather. I should stop talking and you should start. Hello, Bradley Alsop.
Hello.
Yes.
I'm excited to get to our picks because we funnily enough chose in one way or the other negative outcomes for our respective teams.
We did.
Which will be fun stake heading into
Look,
well, I guess even into tonight, because I chose not to spoil anything, but I had an outcome planned for tonight's game.
You did.
to not to spoil too much before we get into it, but
yeah, I mean the Giants are not winning tonight. Let's be real here. Andrew Thomas is not playing. They're all pro left tackle.
Oh gosh, I didn't even that yeah. I made that even,
I thought that
even
he would.
Prior to knowing that fact.
No, I thought he would because he has a hamstring issue and they rested him for the Cardinals game, and for that seemed like it was clear that the strategy was okay. It's short week though, next week. Let's get him back for the 49. Nope. Josh Zudu played well, but I
also didn't even think McKeithen played that bad either.
At guard?
Yeah.
He did not. I'm very excited actually about Marcus
And he's
McKeithen.
a big body. He's like him and Neal are at the very least, obviously I think we were both saying Neal is still coming on, obviously, but they have great frames for that side of the line.
The thing I worry about for that matchup, and I mean I guess we could just touch on it really quickly, is just that since I know the Giants quite well, I've been complaining. I'm more worried about Kayvon Thibodeau than I am about Evan Neal, and I think that's actually not the conventional wisdom of Giants fans.
Right, I would think. Yeah, right. I feel like people can maybe think conventionally the other way around.
But Neal has all the measurables, and I'm
definitely.
But Neal is I mean, he went to Alabama. The Giants have had a problem in developing offensive linemen. If they tweak that, I have more faith in Neal getting there, and especially
he's 6'7", 340.
Oh yeah,
and with the way he moves, if he cleans up the penalties and stuff, I mean the measurables and the athleticism is very, very apparently there.
And he's a good guy. He's a hard worker. He tries really hard. He takes it to heart when he doesn't do well. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau came into the league I'm Mr. NFT and I'm gonna dazzle everybody, and he hasn't looked good. He's good against the run, but for a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. I mean, he was fifth overall. They took Evan Neal at 7, or fourth, no 5th. It has not been what the production indicated at Oregon, but a lot of really smart NFL people said, don't look at this production. It is misleading. He's not the strong athlete. He doesn't have the same pass rush ability that you would want from that kind of traditional pass rusher. And so I feel like that's bearing fruit. And I think he'll be a good NFL pro, but I don't think he'll ever be great. I've said that before. And I don't know if he has the personality to handle not being great. Because he's always wanted to, be the star.
And I think, and this is a broader critique, not even necessarily a critique, but just of the thing we've talked about also with the younger Jets guys too, and seen sort of with some of the Bengals guys, or even if in a cross-sport comparison, like the Grizzlies in their, quest for a championship, or even a conference finals appearance, multiple or whatever the case may be. it's like difficult to, as much as I want to root for guys with confidence, or want them to have like the swagger and confidence, it's like hard when it's like not earned yet, or when it's like
well,
kind
this is when I'm old lady yells at cloud.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. I
Like
care about what the production is, and then you get to be I didn't
like
love
you need to back it up, I guess is what I'm saying. Like it's more unimpeachable when you're actually able to like have some sort of backstop of being like I'm not only winning, but like I'm like my individual output can back up my talk, basically.
Ethan of Gotham Sports Network, who I think has called to the Majority Report before, I'm friends with him through social media. He made this point that like, we didn't love Odell because Odell had a great personality. We loved Odell because he had one of the greatest runs in the history of wide receiver play during like his first 3 years with the New York Giants, and then his personality was just a cherry on top once he was able to back it up. Kayvon Thibodeau, let's get going on that front, but let's not make this too Giants centric, even though they are playing tonight.
No, that came up just because I was trying to soft launch my pick.
We're doing and Azeez Ojulari is not playing, so it's Kayvon Thibodeau at outside linebacker against Trent Williams. I have no faith in that. The interior of the 49ers line is not the strongest part of their offense. I would say if you were to pick a unit on that offense, running back, tackle, interior O-line, wide receiver, the quarterback's basically irrelevant in the Niners, putting the quarterback aside for a second. That interior unit is the weakest of those four.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So like
Colton, relying on like Colton McKivitz, for example,
yes.
Like that for sure. Like
I think their tackles are stronger than their guards, and then the Giants do have Dexter Lawrence, who could wreak some havoc in the middle of the line. But everything else is just not going to go the Giants' way.
Yeah.
The Giants, I mean, they have Fred Warner, who can line up against Darren Waller. They have Nick Bosa, who's going up against poor sweet Josh Azudu, who's probably a guard, even though he's playing tackle.
Right.
It's just not going to be a good thing. I could see them backdoor covering. 10.5 was a little much for me for those lines, but let's stop dancing around it. We'll just get to our picks here.
Let's do it.
Last week, we both went 1-2. I was way too galaxy-brained in thinking that the Raiders would cover the spread. And they did not. They got blown out. Although it looked close at the beginning. They went down and scored that touchdown to Devontae Adams, and then Jimmy Garoppolo threw a pick, and then all hell broke loose. But my initial instinct was to do Ravens plus 3.5. You were right on that. But we both were wrong on the Giants covering -4 against the Cardinals. And you got that Ravens pick right. You did not get the Chargers pick right. And so we both went 1-2, but I went 0-3 last week. So I am in a hole that I need to dig myself out of. And I just decided I'm stopping overthinking things, and I'm going with my gut this week. I'm going with the things that look best to me on paper. I don't need to look up articles. I don't need to read what The Athletic has to say about the point spread. Everyone is just making their own determination, and no one knows what's going to happen. So I am going with my gut.
We're heat checking.
Yeah, we're heat checking. I don't have any heat, but I'm going to be attempting
We're lukewarm checking.
This is why when I do actual bets like on my phone, I hedge and I do alternate point spreads and parlay it with something else. Straight up, it is difficult, and I'm just sucking it up, and I have been since the start of this podcast. So don't take my word for it. This is just a fun little competition. Although we both survived last week in Survivor. Let's put up the picks for this week, and then we'll get into it. But yeah.
Before we get to that,
yeah,
we should probably do our intro, right?
Oh, yes, we should.
Cart before the horse.
ESVN
Stone Cold Lock of the Century. All week.
All right. Now we can return to business.
Thank you, Dan, from the internet, as always, for that wonderful intro. Yeah, so again, we both went 0-2 last week. The Packers covered, which was good for me, but the Raiders and the Giants did not cover their spreads, and Bradley did win the Ravens plus 3.5. Chargers lost, and we both had that Giants spread that didn't come through. Last week, though, with Survivor, we did both come through. Bradley had the Buffalo Bills. They did win, and I had the Giants, which was looking kind of scary for a little while, but the Giants won. So we now can each no longer pick. I can no longer pick the Commanders or the Giants in the survivor pool, and Bradley can no longer pick the Ravens or the Bills in the survivor pool. I gotta say, like, I tried to go with some weaker opponents to start the year, just to save like the Chiefs or the Bills or the 49ers until later. You're just going with the sure thing.
Yeah, I'm shooting. I talk about heat checks. I'm just going with the big guns very early.
And let's
I'm gonna be picking like the Texans in week 15.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Well, God help us if we
we'll
survive until that point. But let's just do Survivor since we have it off the top of our minds here at the start. I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys. My strategy right now is picking against Arizona.
Yes, this is smart. This is very smart. when in doubt, find the team that's playing the Cardinals.
I literally, now that's my third week in a row picking the Cardinals because the Washington Commanders beat the Cardinals week 1, the Giants beat them last week, and now I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys to beat the Arizona Cardinals in week 3 as my survivor pick. The spread is like 12.5
yeah,
points.
I think it's like, based on how this Cowboys team has been playing, this could be a lock. This could be a shoo-in.
I think they're going to look at some of the film last week where Josh Dobbs carved up the Giants in the first half, putting up 20 points. And they're going to be like, oh, I'm going to find a very easy way to eliminate this.
Yeah, we're just not going to let that happen.
Yeah, we're not going to let that happen. We have the ability to do so. And so I think, in your survivor pools, Dallas, not a bad bet this week. You have the Niners tonight as your sure thing to win. Which is very fair.
Similar feeling just in the way that it's not even necessarily a full indictment of the Giants just yet, that in the sense of like how we're picking the Cardinals. It's more, I just think as you were saying, and to be honest, I don't think I even knew some of the personnel updates yet, but now knowing that Andrew Thomas will be out, as well as Ojulari will be out on the other side of the line, I think the combination just of the matchup, even at full strength,
and Saquon's out,
and Saquon being out, yeah. I think the combination of the matchup disparities that would be there even at full strength, I think they're just going to be probably more amplified tonight. And I mean, I think the way the Giants could potentially keep it close is seeing if they can make Purdy make mistakes. But otherwise, I just think this offense has really, really been firing on all cylinders in the past few weeks, and I don't really see that changing just yet.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that the Niners are basically a sure thing to win tonight. I mean, the only hesitation is just that Dable always has a good game plan pretty much every single time, and he might be able to exploit it. But the problem is that he's facing the best play caller in the NFL.
He's
best.
The wizard. Yeah.
I mean, the guy who knows how to exploit every weakness that you have, and
every detail, right? Like
totally.
every bit of minutia, like.
And they build their team right in the sense that they're big up front on both sides of the ball in the trenches, and so the Giants with Matt Breida, with Eric Gray, with Gary Brightwell, these kind of no names, and Breida being a veteran back who is just not very fast and can't break. He's good for 5 or 6 yards on if he's able to get a hole, but he's not the guy that's going to put on the burners and take it to the house. So I just don't see the Giants being able to put up enough points to hang with the 49ers. So
for sure. And one thing just to give credit to Alex in the YouTube chat that I did not see until just now. This broke about a little under an hour ago, that Trayvon Diggs, corner for the Cowboys, was seen on crutches on Thursday and is having MRI on an injury he sustained at practice on his knee.
Oh, no.
So obviously we'll see if that's anything more severe or if it's, something more minor, but that could certainly, not necessarily to shift the outcome of our survivor pick, but just as to keep an eye out for, the Cowboys prospects on that defense.
That doesn't really change much about my survivor
No,
pick.
Definitely not. Oh my God, definitely not.
Yeah, but good thing to monitor. Thank you very much for the information. Let's just get into our picks then.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're kind of straightforward episode today. I am picking the Jets. I am picking
You are?
the Patriots against the Jets -2.5. I'm surprised that the line is less than a field goal, and I figured that the Patriots will win by at least a field goal. I understand the trepidation about the Patriots. They are 0-2, but they have been in every game that they played. I actually think that they were the better team on the field in that sloppy game in week 1 against the Eagles. They had Jalen Hurts a little bit seeing ghosts and not feeling super confident. So definitely I have more faith in the Patriots, I think, than the betting markets do. The Patriots have won 14 consecutive games against the Jets. Were you aware of this, Bradley?
The Patriots have given up more yards?
No, won 14 consecutive meetings against the Jets. Okay.
Sorry, I think I was hoping you said something else, so I just sort of replaced whatever you actually said with what I wanted you to hear that you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're 14. They're 14.
Oh no, they had before. I'm sorry, I had this written down wrong. Jeez, I am all over the place today. And they've won 22 of the past 24 against the Jets. That's what I meant. But and who knows if I have this written down incorrectly? But the point is just like
no, if I'm being honest, like.
The Patriots can't.
I haven't
can't
like.
Lose to the Jets.
I literally like. I literally think since the 2009-2010 playoffs when the Jets like went to the conference finals after beating the Patriots. Like, I literally barely remember a time when we've even been like remotely competitive against the Patriots, independent of context. Like it's one of those things where it's just sort of temporal, where it's just like if the Jets and the Patriots are playing each other, the Patriots are going to win.
Yeah, and the thing is just Zach Wilson. I think he actually did some good things, and then he was pushing way too hard in the second half of that game. But he's 0-3 as a starter against the New England Patriots.
And this is a defense, and I feel like Belichick relishes in coaching, coaching up against like young kind of
quarterbacks.
Vulnerable
His
quarterbacks.
record against rookie quarterbacks is incredible.
Right.
And Zach Wilson's not a rookie, but obviously the circumstances mean that he is exploitable. And the Jets defense kind of collapsed against the Cowboys. So
yes, seriously. I mean, what I'm wondering, which I think potentially Bill O'Brien and Mac Jones can do, is what I think Mike McCarthy did very successfully against against the Jets last week, was that basically he gave the pass rush just like no time to get home. That just like Dak was getting the ball out almost immediately to the point where the pass rush was kind of neutralized, and they were just finding soft spots in the zone for their receivers, for CD and Michael Gallup, and to find in the tight ends to find space. So if the Patriots can kind of emulate that a little bit, sort of not give Quinnen Williams, John Franklin Myers, those guys enough time to get there, like it neutralizes them a little bit than what they were doing against the Bills, even, for example. In week 1.
Exactly. So I'm going with the Patriots -2.5. Just want to say it's confirmed by Schefter. Trevon Diggs suffered a torn ACL. Wow.
Yeah. Geez.
Okay. Well, anyway, you go with your first pick. That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Brutal. But I am taking the Falcons +3 against Detroit. Not necessarily saying, not sure if they'll necessarily win, but I was pretty impressed overall by the game against the Packers. The fact that they actually, were able to pull it off and keep the score. I mean, it's not they scored, I think, both 26, 27 points, so it wasn't obviously a stellar defensive performance, but I think it was good enough, obviously. And Ritter aside, who I think obviously is still a little bit like
raw,
getting his sea leg, sort of like he has a few, I would say, honestly, really nice looking throws, but then there's certain times where it just seems like the decision making is like off a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that his arm is consistent enough at this level.
That's, I think, is like you sometimes see him rope in a few intermediate throws, but then sometimes you're like, oh, like that's just not like sustainable what he's trying to do on other reps. But I think the skill position talent is high end enough, and Bijan Robinson is already looking so strong, and with the way that Arthur Smith and that team pluses up their run game with how that offensive line is very catered towards a really robust run game, and also with a great combo of Bijan's explosiveness and Tyler Allgeier's kind of toughness as a runner. I think they've just already showed that they're going to be a kind of team to watch on offense every week. And same, I think, goes for the Lions, but I think the Lions honestly just don't have as much top-end talent. I think the way that Ben Johnson coordinates that offense maximizes those skills.
Yeah.
But without, especially now knowing that David Montgomery is going to be out, they are also kind of losing that run block.
Is he officially out, or is it just a bruise?
Oh, I guess I don't know if he's. I wasn't sure if he was officially. I thought there was something saying his prognosis was either week to week or a few weeks, but I could be wrong on that. He did miss another practice per CBS Sports.
Yeah. Either way,
so we don't know yet,
up.
obviously. But if he's banged up, I just think like the run blocking aspect is a little bit less pronounced with Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm sure Gibbs will be getting a more pronounced role, actually going out in space and
Fingers
on routes.
Crossed, that's my guy.
Right, exactly. I have him in fantasy too, so fingers crossed. But I still just don't fully trust this Lions defense, like outside of Aiden Hutchinson. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has also looked pretty good, but
he's out now.
So he's not even playing.
He
so
tore his pec.
Oh yeah, so he's so without even one of my guys who I thought was looking good on that defense, he's not even playing.
He's out for the season.
He's out. He's so you know what's weird? I thought for some reason in practice.
This is the other thing. You know every name, but you cannot process injuries.
Oh no, I never look. I literally never look. Like I'm just like they're probably playing, right?
And it enrages me because you're doing better than me.
Like they're not.
Even though I'm up on all this.
I was like,
God
playing.
damn it.
And especially the Giants thing. I was like, Andrew Thomas probably playing. Like,
yeah, God.
But I know what I was saying is funny is for some reason I must have misread something in preseason that I was like, oh, I think CJJ is out for the season, and now he actually is out.
No, he had an injury,
but it wasn't a season-ending one. Okay, but so I think I just broadly still don't trust this Lions defense and like what they've done to sort of make it a more plus unit. And it's not that I necessarily trust the Falcons more. I think the Falcons offense is more dynamic and will give the Lions defense more fits than the Lions will.
I like this pick. I wouldn't say I feel confident in it, but I do think that there is the quality of AJ Terrell is going to be on Amon-Ra St. Brown, and who are the other receiving options?
For the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean for the Lions. Like
so it's
Josh
Reynolds
right.
and Khalif Raymond
right.
and
But I think that there's not going to be enough to keep up with the skill position players on the Falcons side. So gun to my head, I would take the Falcons too, but I'm just still not sure.
That's a great point about that one. I mean, that'll be an awesome one-on-one matchup to watch. But I think, of course, as you're saying, for Goff, usually Amon-Ra is like that release valve if he can't find anybody open. And Terrell will probably be, if we see anything as we've seen the last few weeks, we'll probably be kind of blanketing him throughout.
Yeah, that's my feeling. So we both have this. The Packers pick. We both are in agreement on that. The Packers -1.5 at home, and I'll give you my justification. So the Packers gave that game away to the Falcons on Sunday, and it was pissing me off so
definitely.
much. Matt LaFleur is 12-3 against the spread after a loss.
Oh.
So I really like this game. The Saints offense is going to be down Jamal Williams, starting a practice squad running back
Tony Jones,
Tony Jones and Kende Miller, who is a rookie who I think has been dealing with some injuries in the preseason. I'm not sure about Christian Watson coming back. He still did not practice last I saw. Either way, though, the Saints are on a short week. They have to go to Green Bay. Regardless of the weather, it's still one of the most difficult places to play in the NFL. And I just really have a ton of faith in this Packers offense to make big plays. Jordan Love is throwing the ball down the field, even with someone like Christian Watson out. And I will just say, the Saints offense without Alvin Kamara, it has not looked good.
I was just gonna say, even like I obviously know they got the win on Monday against the Panthers, but I thought the offense, aside from that big chunk play down the sideline, which was mostly, I mean, good throw from Derek Carr, but primarily a fantastic catch from Chris Olave, was. Aside from that, was not really operating, like was not really firing on all cylinders. Seemed kind of punchless, honestly, besides a few like goal line pushes to get the points that they got. And the Packers offense still looked pretty explosive without Watson. There was that big touchdown throw that Love had to Dontavian Wicks, who's like a first or second year guy, 5th round pick out of Virginia. So it's seeming like, honestly, Love where I think Love is ambitious enough, even if sometimes he makes mistakes. He's ambitious enough to keep pushing the ball.
Yeah.
And hoping his receivers make plays.
Exactly. The Saints offense is just not something that excites. You should turn your mic off when you're not talking. I'm sorry. No, it's okay.
I apologize.
Yeah, it's all right. The Saints offense is just not explosive in any meaningful way. That was a one-on-one ball to Chris Olave, but they can't stretch the field. No one seems to be able to get yards after the catch, at least in the way that Derek Carr is playing them. And I just don't think that the Saints are going to be able to go to 3-0 against the Green Bay Packers. So of all of these picks, that's maybe the one I feel, second most confident to the Patriots. I feel pretty confident about the Packers bouncing back here.
Yeah, I think I definitely feel more confident about this one than I do even about the Falcons one. Actually, this one is my most confident for sure.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So my other final pick here, the Tennessee Titans plus 3.5, and this sounds like a kind of wild card pick. I understand that, but I do not like the way that Deshaun Watson looks right now. He's not seemingly confident in the way that he throws the football. Did you see he was pulling on a face mask and getting into it during that game?
Oh, yeah.
He seems like he's off center. I would imagine that's understandable given the amount of time that he's taken off and the amount of bad press that he has justifiably gotten and the likely acrimony that he feels towards so much of football and so much of like the public scrutiny that he received unjustifiably, because he could have just settled and treated those women correctly and admitted that he did something wrong. He did not go down that path. And now he is in the midst of a fully guaranteed contract after the Browns traded 3 first-round picks for him, and it is not looking good. And they just lost Nick Chubb, the most important player on their offense, who is like the guy that everyone looks to as the moral center of the team, as a leader, as the heart and soul of what the Browns want to do, which is run the ball. Kevin Stefanski came from the Vikings, and his hallmark was, I'm going to be a more creative run play designer. The passing game has not come together, whether that's Deshaun Watson, whether it's Kevin Stefanski, but when you're able to become one-dimensional against a great coach like Mike Vrabel, who also, their run defense is amazing.
Yeah,
their pass defense is not good, and I don't think Deshaun Watson can exploit that. So I'm a little bit surprised to see them as 3.5-point dogs. If they do lose to the Browns, I don't think it's by more than a field goal. So I think the Titans win this game, honestly.
Yeah, and Jeffrey Simmons has been playing like maybe one of or the best, interior rusher in the league so far. And he'll be either going up against Jerome Ford, who's a relatively green player, or the newly signed former free agent Kareem Hunt in Nick Chubb's stead. So it's a lot to put on a very young guy and a guy who hasn't really had that playbook with him for some time. So this Titans defense never, even no matter who's playing, they never slow down. They're never like really asleep at the wheel. So I think they'll definitely be able to feast a little bit if there's no counterpunch aside from their run game, which will be depleted outside of Nick Chubb.
Absolutely. All right, last pick for you.
I am taking the Rams plus 3 against the
Whoa!
Bengals. Yeah, that's right. Because, well, the first thing is, besides me not necessarily knowing whether the Rams will, I'm again like not necessarily thinking the Rams will win, but that they'll cover. Like, I still have not seen enough to think like, oh, like the Bengals are going to be back at some point soon. Especially knowing or thinking that Burrow seemingly still is either not healthy or that the calf has been re-irritated in some way.
It has been, yeah.
And so that definitely concerns me because as we said on Monday, so much of the offense is just like, I'm the best, my receivers are the best, let's go one-on-one and see who wins. And if Burrow doesn't have that, like, is the line good enough to sustain something without that? Is the running game good enough to sustain something without that? Like, I don't know, because we haven't really seen that be successful for them in the past. Whereas the Rams, despite, I would say, of course, not having, especially with Cooper Kupp out, not having nearly as equivalent skill position talent, looked pretty good on offense going against the 49ers defense.
Yeah.
Yes, they lost the game, but they were like competitively in the game with Stafford making throws.
Oh, Stafford looks like he certainly is a top 10 quarterback this year.
Right, like
if not playing like a top 5 quarterback this year.
And
playing
just,
better than Burrow, playing better than Herbert.
without all of his guys, like without everyone that he was probably expecting to have as targets, and making the most out of our funly named duo Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell.
Love them.
And then
love that for them.
So I think just if I guess my thought process is just if I saw the Rams succeed offensively against this Niners defense, it's pretty scary. In spite of losing, I obviously still think the Bengals defense is a really good unit, but I don't think this Bengals defense is necessarily more formidable than the 49ers. I don't think they have necessarily more game breakers than a team that has, Nick Bosa and Javon Hargrave on their line. So I just think this will definitely be close, and it'll definitely raise alarm bells. As we said, like literally this Monday night game is probably a must-win for Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Because there aren't that many more. There aren't that many more, especially in this AFC, especially with having already lost to the Ravens. Like, and this is like they're not that many more losses to come by.
I agree, and this is the problem with Zach Taylor and the simple, stupid offense that he rolls out every year, and the fact that Joe Burrow has been missing preseason for.
Right.
I mean,
right.
This is out of his control. He had the calf injury last year. He had the appendix removal. But it is causing issues, and if Zach Taylor wanted to be a creative head coach, he could help out his quarterback in a certain way, get him some easy completions while he gets back up to speed and heals up. But no, it's decided it's all on Burrow all the time. And on, honestly, let's be real, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase to catch balls in tight windows when, other more creative schemers like someone like Sean McVay would be getting guys open. How is Puka Nacua more open than Jamar Chase on a regular basis?
Right,
and that's the issue.
And I think the answer what resolves that issue for the Rams is just that the reason why someone like Puka Nacua is more open historically, so for a rookie wide receiver relative to Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, that's not a talent problem. We know what Jamar Chase and T. Higgins can do. That's a coaching problem.
100%. And it really annoys me every single year. And then they come on because they're so talented.
Right, because the talent is there, yeah.
They rise to the top at the end of the year and everyone forgets about it. But I don't know if they'll be able to do that this
Zach
year.
Taylor's a good coach.
Ugh, yeah. It's Burrow's essentially the coach there. I mean, I couldn't pull the trigger on this pick because who knows if Burrow decides to go God mode.
That's the one outlier, right? Is maybe he comes back and throws for 500 yards or something.
But if if he doesn't play, that's a steal with that pick because then the Rams are definitely winning. But that's it. So for the people listening, and here, RFK's sandpaper Thrussie writes in saying, can you guys explain what the spread and covering the spread means? I watch football, but I don't understand gambling terms. No problem. So the spread is essentially what Vegas determines, and it can be moved if a lot of money goes to one side, is the ideal point outcome that is the differential between teams so that they can make the most, the maximum amount of money. So if the New England Patriots were to cover the spread in this game, they are minus 2.5 point favorites. When you when you see the minus on the screen and that the team is minus 2.5, that means that they are favored to win by 2.5 points or more. So if the Patriots win by 3 points, they cover the spread. If the Patriots lose by or win by 2 points, they do not cover the spread. The Jets can lose the game and still cover the spread. They can lose by 2, they can lose by 1. They just can't lose by 3. So that is what a point spread indicates. It means that you're picking a team to win by a certain amount, and it's the most difficult thing to do because Vegas knows exactly what they're doing. They know what the most likely outcomes are in certain situations, and that's how they make the most money. And that's what the difficulty of these games. So the spread can be for when a really good team is playing a really bad team, you'll see that, for example, the Cowboys are 12.5 point favorites against the Arizona Cardinals. If the Cowboys win by 13, that means they cover that 12.5 points. They've covered the spread. If the Cardinals lose by 10, they've covered the spread. So I hope that explains something for you. All right. Well, with that said, Kowalski says, Emma, I hope for VidCon you introduce yourself as the host of ESVN and that the majority of reports a bit of a side hustle. I know Destiny and Vosh are poor with anything sports related, so you can prove how much of a Sigma. Well, I mean, we shall see. I'm just going because I'm getting paid, so whatever.
Cha-ching.
That's all. Anything else?
Did we say all the picks? Should we say all the picks?
Yes.
We said all of them? Okay.
I'm going with the Patriots -2.5, the Packers -1.5, the Tennessee Titans +3.5. Bradley's going with the Falcons +3, the Packers -1.5 like myself, and the Rams +3. And for Survivor, we have Dallas and San Francisco this week. All right, guys. Really quick episode this week, but it is OT. We will see you on Monday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.